You ever have a moment that doesn't make sense until it's too late? Not like a jump scare or anything, just something that settles into your bones afterward and won't let go? Yeah, I had one of those. It was a few months ago. I'd just started working late shifts, trying to pick up extra hours after getting hit with some medical bills. Most nights I walked home just past midnight, cutting through a quieter part of town to save time. This one night, I was exhausted. The air had that cold, wet smell, like it was thinking about raining but hadn't made up its mind yet. I remember checking my phone. 12:23 a.m. And that's when I saw him. He was just sitting there, in front of this old house. You wouldn't even notice him unless you looked twice. He had one of those faces, familiar, like someone you saw at a party once or passed in a hallway years ago. He was smoking, the end of his cigarette glowing soft orange in the dark. He looked up as I walked by. "Hey," he said, just like that, calm, like he'd been expecting me. I slowed down. "Hey, do I know you?" He smiled a little, barely. "Yeah, it's been a while." I hesitated. Something in the way he said it felt off, but not in a threatening way, more like déjà vu. I stepped closer. "I'm sorry, man. I don't remember your name." "That's all right," he said. "You will." We talked for a bit. I don't even remember half of what we said at first. Just neighborhood stuff, weather, people we supposedly both knew. I was too tired to question it. He spoke slowly, like every word was chosen. Then he asked me something weird. "You still have that scar on your wrist?" I froze. I do have a scar there, from when I was a kid. I fell through a window, but I'd never shown it to anyone since high school. He just smiled, took another drag. "I remember that," he said. "You bled like hell." I laughed nervously. "You were there?" He nodded. "In a way." He asked another question. "You ever wonder what happens after?" "After what?" "You know. When it's over." I tried to keep it light. "You mean after we die?" He nodded. "Sometimes," I said. "Doesn't everyone?" He flicked his cigarette off the porch. "Some of us more than others." I checked my phone again. 1 a.m. "I should get going." "Sure," he said. "You'll see me again." I turned back maybe 30 seconds later, just out of curiosity. The porch was empty. No movement, no glow of a cigarette, nothing. I walked faster the rest of the way home, didn't sleep much that night. The next day I asked around. I described the guy. His face, his voice, even the way he leaned back on the porch like he owned it. A few people shrugged. One guy, a mailman who's been on that route for years, just stared at me. "You said he was where?" "In front of 106 Willow." He shook his head. "That place has been boarded up since 2018. Number Y talked to him last night. He pulled out his phone and showed me a picture of the house. Same place, same porch. Different time. And in the photo, there he was. "That's Danny," the guy said. "Used to live there. Killed in a car accident. 5 years ago this week." I stared at the photo. Same face, same posture, same look in his eyes. But the worst part, that line he said, "You'll see me again." I still walk the same way home, I don't know why. Habit, maybe. But I don't look at that porch anymore. And I don't want to know what he meant. I was still half asleep when I picked up the phone that morning. The first thing I heard on the other end was Jason's voice, a little tired but familiar. Happy birthday, man. I told you I wouldn't forget. So, my birthday was coming up and my roommate Jason kept hyping it up. He was one of those guys who made a big deal out of birthdays. Like, every year, he'd go out of his way to do something for me, even if it was just a small surprise. A couple days before, he was like, "Dude, don't make any plans on your birthday. I got something for you." I laughed and told him he didn't have to, but he just waved me off. Classic Jason. The night before, everything was normal. Jason was on the couch watching some show while I went to my room. "Don't forget, man," he called out. "Big day tomorrow." I just laughed and said, Yeah, see you in the morning." So, I wake up the next day and my phone's buzzing. It's Jason calling me. I pick up, still half asleep. "Dude, I just woke up." He chuckles on the other end. "Happy birthday, man. I told you I wouldn't forget." I laugh. "Thanks, dude." He sounds a little tired, but that's not weird. "All right, get ready, man. I'll see you soon." Then he hangs up. I get up, brush my teeth, go to the kitchen, and Jason's door is still closed. Figured he was still sleeping, so I made some coffee and scrolled through my phone for a bit. An hour passes, then 2. At this point, I'm thinking, all right, dude's oversleeping hard, so I knock on his door. No answer. I knock again. "Yo, Jason, wake up, man." Still nothing. Something in my gut felt off. I pushed the door open, and there he was, lying in bed, completely still. I stepped closer, my heart pounding. "Jason?" I shook him a little. No response, and that's when I noticed he was cold. I don't even remember grabbing my phone, but the next thing I knew, I was calling 911, my hands shaking so bad I almost dropped it. The paramedics came, and I barely registered what they were saying. All I caught was that he had passed away in his sleep. And not just recently. The estimated time of death? Sometime the previous night, before midnight. I just sat there staring at the floor. That didn't make sense. That couldn't make sense. Because Jason had called me that morning. I had talked to him, heard his voice, but he was already gone. I grabbed my phone and looked at the call log, almost expecting the call to not be there. But it was, right there. Incoming call from Jason at 8:32 a.m., but Jason had been dead for hours. I didn't know what to do. I told the cops about the call, but they just looked at me like I was in shock. Said maybe it was some kind of glitch, or I imagined it in the stress of the moment. But I know what I heard. I know I talked to Jason that morning, and you know what still freaks me out? His last words on the phone. "All right, get ready, man. I'll see you soon." I moved out of that apartment not long after. I just couldn't stay there. And every year, when my birthday comes around, I can't help but wonder, did Jason really call me? Or was he just keeping his promise one last time?